Captain Dae-ho Kim looked out the window of his small ship at the biggest structure he had ever seen. The Galactic Council's meeting place was huge beyond belief. It looked like a giant crystal floating in space near the center of the galaxy. The crystal was so big that Earth could fit inside it 10 times over. "Are you ready for this?" asked Dr. Hai-Jin Park. She sat next to him, holding a tablet full of information about alien species. Her hands shook a little, but her voice was steady. "No one can be ready for this," said Commander Taemin Lee from behind them. He was Earth's top military officer, but even he felt small looking at the council chambers. "We are about to meet beings that have ruled the galaxy for thousands of years." Their ship moved closer to the crystal structure. Other ships flew around it like tiny insects. Some ships were made of metal like theirs. Others looked like they were made of light or living tissue. Dae-ho had studied pictures of alien ships, but seeing them in person made his stomach feel tight. "Remember what we agreed," Dae-ho said to his team. "We listen first, we learn what they want, then we decide what to do." "The president said we should try to make friends," Ye-jin said, reading from her tablet. "Earth needs allies out here." "The president is safe on Earth," Taemin said. "We are the ones sitting in front of beings that can destroy planets." Their ship docked with the crystal structure. The docking bay was so big that 100 ships like theirs could fit inside. Strange beings moved around the bay. Some walked on legs like humans. Others floated in the air. A few looked like they were made of metal and moved with clicking sounds. A voice spoke inside their ship. It did not come from any speaker they could see. The voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Human delegation, you will follow the guide to the council chambers. Do not touch anything. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not look directly at the sacred council members." The 3 humans looked at each other. These rules sounded like the kind of things kings used to demand from their subjects back on Earth. They left their ship and followed a floating ball of light through long hallways. The hallways were made of the same crystal as the outside structure. Everything glowed with soft light that seemed to come from inside the walls. Other beings walked through the hallways. Most of them looked down at the floor when they saw the humans. A few stared with what might have been curiosity. One creature that looked like a giant butterfly made of metal flew past them quickly, as if it was afraid. "They all seem scared," Hyojin whispered. "Or respectful," Taemin said. "Hard to tell the difference with aliens." The floating light led them to a huge door that was 20 times taller than a human. The door opened without making any sound. Beyond it was the biggest room any of them had ever seen. The council chambers looked like the inside of a mountain. The ceiling was so high that clouds formed near the top. 12 huge platforms floated in the air around the center of the room. On each platform stood a being so strange and powerful that looking at them made the humans feel dizzy. "Welcome, humans," said a voice that seemed to come from inside their heads. "I am the Supreme Arbiter Velnoth. I speak for the Galactic Council." Dae-ho looked up and saw a being made of pure energy contained inside geometric shapes that shifted and changed. The shapes were beautiful and terrible at the same time. Just looking at them made his eyes water. "You stand before the rulers of this galaxy," the Arbiter continued. "We have maintained peace and order for 10,000 years. Every species that achieves space travel comes before us. Every species learns their place in the galactic order. On the other platforms, the other council members, watched the humans. One looked like a living mountain made of crystal that sang with musical tones when it moved. Another was a cloud of gas that formed into different shapes. A third appeared to be a collection of metal parts that moved together like a single mind. "Your species has achieved faster-than-light travel," said the crystal being. Its voice sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "This means you have reached the level where you must choose your path." "What kind of choice?" Dae-ho asked. His voice sounded tiny in the huge chamber. The gas cloud shaped itself into something that might have been a face. "There is only one choice that matters, human. Submit to the Council's protection or face the consequences of defiance." "Protection from what?" Ye-jin asked. The metal being answered with a voice like grinding gears. "From chaos, from war, from the darkness that existed before the Council brought order to the galaxy." The Supreme Arbiter's energy form grew brighter. "The choice is simple. You will provide 60% of your world's resources each year as tribute. In return, the Council will protect your species from threats you cannot imagine. 60%, Taemin said. That would mean most of our people would starve. Better to starve slowly than to die quickly, said a new voice. This came from a being that looked like a giant reptile covered in scales that shifted color like oil. Many species have learned this lesson the hard way. What if we refuse? Daeho asked. The chamber became very quiet. The only sound was the humming of energy from the Arbiter's platform. No species has ever refused, the Arbiter said. It is not done. It is not possible. The Council's power is absolute. Another council member spoke. This one looked like a tree made of metal with branches that moved like arms. Your world is young. Your technology is primitive. Your military is weak. You have no choice but to accept our generous offer. Hyejin looked at her tablet. She had information about thousands of alien species. All of them were listed as Council subjects or Council territories. Not one was listed as independent. How many species have joined the Council voluntarily? She asked. All of them, the crystal being said. Once they understood the benefits of Council protection. And how many have tried to leave the Council? Taemin asked. This time the silence lasted longer. The Council members looked at each other in ways that made the humans feel cold. Leaving the Council is not permitted, the gas cloud said. It would bring chaos to the galaxy. The Council exists to prevent such chaos. Daeho thought about Earth. He thought about his daughter, so young, who was starting her first year of college. He thought about the millions of humans who had worked together to build the ships that brought them to the stars. He thought about all the dreams and hopes of his species. We need time to think about this, he said. There is nothing to think about, the reptile being said. Its scales turned dark red. You will give us your answer now. Submit or be destroyed. This is how it has always been. The Supreme Arbiter's form grew even brighter. Your ship will return to your world. You have one solar cycle to prepare your first tribute payment. After that, Council ships will come to collect what is owed. And if Earth cannot pay? Hyejin asked. Then Earth will learn why no species refuses the Council, the metal tree said. Its branches moved in ways that looked like weapons being prepared. Daeho looked up at the 12 beings that ruled the galaxy. They were ancient and powerful beyond human understanding. They had destroyed other species for refusing to pay tribute. They could turn Earth into dust with a single command, but something in their voices made him think. Something in the way. They spoke about order and chaos. Something in how quickly they had moved from offering protection to making threats. We understand, he said finally. We will return to Earth with your message. Excellent, the Arbiter said. The Council is pleased that humans are reasonable. You will find that life under Council protection is comfortable for those who know their place. As the floating light led them back to their ship, the 3 humans walked in silence. They had come to the stars hoping to find friends and allies. Instead, they had found masters who demanded submission. But they had also found something else. In the way the Council members spoke, in the fear they saw in other species, in the threats that came so quickly after the offers of protection, they had found the truth about the Galactic Order. The Council ruled through fear, not strength. And fear, as any human knew, was something that could be overcome. The question was whether humanity had the courage to try. The human ship had been traveling for 3 days when they received the message. It came directly from Earth, from the President himself. The message was short and clear. The answer is no. Come home. Daeho read the message 3 times before, showing it to the others. Hyejin stared at it with wide eyes. Taemin nodded slowly, as if he had expected this. The President talked to the United Nations, Daeho explained. Every country on Earth voted. The decision was unanimous. Humanity will not pay tribute to the Galactic Council. They know what this means? Hyejin asked. They know the Council will come for us? They know, Daeho said. The President said something else too. He said if we are going to die, we will die as free humans, not as slaves. Taemin looked out at the stars. My grandfather told me stories about the old wars on Earth. He said the hardest battles were fought by people who knew they could not win. But they fought anyway, because some things are worth dying for. Freedom is one of those things, Hyajin said quietly. They turned their ship around and headed back to the council chambers. The crystal structure looked the same as before, huge and impossible and ancient. But now it looked different to human eyes. Now it looked like a prison that had been built to hold an entire galaxy. The same floating light guided them through the crystal hallways. The same alien beings looked down at the floor as they passed. But this time, the humans noticed something they had missed before. Some of the aliens looked at them with curiosity. A few even nodded in what might have been respect. They know, Taemin whispered. Word travels fast out here. They know we came back. They probably also know what we are going to say, Hyejin said. Question is, do they think we are brave or just stupid? Maybe both, Daeho said. The council chambers looked exactly the same. The 12 platforms still floated in the air. The same powerful beings still watched from above. But something felt different. The air seemed thicker, like the moment before a thunderstorm. Humans, the Supreme Arbiter said. Its energy form was brighter than before, crackling with what looked like anger. You have returned quickly. This is good. It shows you understand the importance of obeying the council. We understand many things, Daeho said. He walked to the center of the chamber, directly below the Arbiter's platform. His voice echoed in the huge space. Speak your tribute offer, the crystal being said. Its musical voice had sharp notes now, like breaking glass. The council is ready to accept your submission. Hyejin stepped up beside Daeho. She held her tablet, but she did not look at it. Instead, she looked up at the beings who had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. Before we give our answer, she said, we want to ask a question. The gas cloud shaped itself into something angry. You are not here to ask questions. You are here to submit to the council's will. The question is simple, Taemin said, joining his companions in the center of the chamber. In all your years of rule, how many species have ever said no to you? The silence that followed was different from before. It was not the silence of power. It was the silence of surprise. No species refuses the council, the metal tree said. Its branches moved in agitation. It is not done. It cannot be done. Why not? Daeho asked. What happens if someone just says no? The reptile being's scales turn dark red again. They die. Their worlds burn. Their species becomes a memory. This is what happens to those who defy the council. So you rule through fear, Hyejin said. It was not a question. We rule through order, the Supreme Arbiter said. Its form grew brighter, filling the upper part of the chamber with harsh light. We bring peace to chaos. We protect the weak from the strong. By making everyone weak, Taemin said. Another council member spoke. This one looked like a collection of floating crystals that moved in patterns. Your species is young. You do not understand the galaxy. There are threats beyond your imagination. Without the council's protection, you will face horrors that will destroy you. What kind of threats? Daeho asked. War, the gas cloud said. Species fighting species, worlds burning, billions dying. The council prevents such things. By making. Sure, no one is strong enough to fight, Hyejin said. By taking most of their resources, by keeping them afraid. The metal being made a sound like grinding gears. Fear is a tool. Like any tool, it can be used for good or evil. The council uses fear to maintain peace. That is not peace, Daeho said. That is just delayed war. The Supreme Arbiter's form began to pulse with angry energy. Enough philosophy. You will give your answer now. Submit or face destruction. Choose. The three humans looked at each other. They thought about Earth, green and blue and beautiful. They thought about their families and friends. They thought about all the humans who had dreamed of reaching the stars. They thought about freedom. Daeho took a deep breath and looked up at the most powerful beings in the galaxy. His voice was calm and clear when he spoke. No. The words seemed to hang in the air like a physical thing. For a moment, nothing happened. The council members stared down at the humans as if they could not believe what they had heard. Then the crystal being began to sing, but it was not a beautiful song. It was a sound like mountains breaking apart. "Impossible," the gas cloud said, its form shifting wildly. "No one says no to the council. It does not happen." "It just happened," Taemin said. The metal tree's branches moved like weapons being raised. "You have made a terrible mistake. Your species will pay for this arrogance." "Maybe," Hyojin said. "But we will pay as free beings, not as slaves." The reptile being rose up on its platform, towering over the humans. "Do you think your primitive weapons can stand against the Council's fleets? Do you think your small world can survive our anger?" "Probably not," Daeho said, "but that does not change our answer." The Supreme Arbiter's energy form expanded until it filled a quarter of the chamber. When it spoke, the walls themselves seemed to shake. "In 10,000 years, no species has dared to refuse the Council. Your world lacks the technology to resist our power. Our fleets could reduce your planet to cosmic dust before your sun sets." "Then do it," Taemin said. The simple words hit the Council like a physical blow. Several of the beings moved backward on their platforms. "What did you say?" the crystal being asked. "He said do it," Hyejin repeated. "If you are going to destroy us, then destroy us. But stop pretending this is about protection or order or peace. This is about control. This is about fear. And we are not afraid." "You should be afraid," the gas cloud said, but its voice was quieter now. "Why?" Daeho asked. "Because you will kill us? People die anyway. The question is whether they die as slaves or as free beings." The metal tree made angry grinding sounds. "Your defiance will accomplish nothing. After we destroy your world, we will tell the galaxy that humans were destroyed by space pirates. No one will know you ever refused us." "Will they?" Hyojin asked. She smiled, and it was not a nice smile. "Are you sure about that?" Something in her voice made the council members look at each other. For the first time since the humans had arrived, the beings that ruled the galaxy looked uncertain. "What do you mean?" the Supreme Arbiter asked. "We sent a message before we came back here," Taemin said, "to every species we could reach. We told them what the Council demanded. We told them what Earth decided. We told them that humanity chooses freedom over slavery. We also sent copies of our conversations with you," Daeho added, "including the part where you threatened to destroy us for refusing to pay tribute." The reptile being's scales turned pale. "You have violated Council communication protocols. This is forbidden." "By who?" Hyejin asked. "By you? We are not part of your Council. We never agreed to follow your rules." "You think other species will care about your defiance?" the gas cloud asked. "They are all loyal to the Council. They understand the benefits of our protection." "Do they?" Daeho asked. "Because some of them have already sent messages back to us. Interesting messages." The crystal being's song became very quiet. "What kind of messages?" "Messages from species who remember what freedom felt like," Taemin said. "Messages from species who are tired of giving 60% of everything they produce to beings they never see. Messages from species who want to know if humans are really as crazy as they seem." "You are lying," the Supreme Arbiter said, but its energy form was flickering now, like a candle in the wind. "Are we?" Hyejin asked. "How many worlds have stopped paying tribute in the last year? How many of your enforcement fleets have had to deal with pirates and rebels? How many times have you had to remind species that the Council's protection is mandatory?" The silence that followed was the longest yet. The Council members looked at each other with expressions that the humans could not read, but the fear was obvious. "Your defiance changes nothing," the metal tree finally said. "You are still just one small world. One species cannot stand against the Council." "You are right," Daeho said. "One species cannot stand against the Council." He paused and looked up at the beings that had ruled the galaxy through fear and force for 10,000 years. "Good thing we are not alone." The Supreme Arbiter's energy form began to spin faster, creating patterns of light that hurt to look at. When it spoke, its voice made the crystal walls of the chamber ring like bells. "What do you mean you are not alone?" Daeho looked up at The angry being without fear. Exactly what I said. Humanity is not the only species that is tired of your rule. Impossible, said the crystal being. Its musical voice was full of sharp, angry notes. All species serve the council willingly. They understand the benefits of our protection. Do they? Hyejin asked. She pulled out her tablet and activated a hologram. Numbers and charts appeared in the air between the humans and the council. Platforms. These are the tribute records for the last 50 years. Want to know what we found? The gas cloud shaped itself into something that might have been leaning forward. Those records are classified. How did you access them? We asked nicely. Taemin said with a small smile. You asked who? The reptile being demanded. Its scales were now shifting between red and pale yellow. People who were willing to share information, Daeho said. Turns out there are a lot of beings in the galaxy who do not like the council very much. The hologram changed, showing a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked council worlds. Yellow dots marked worlds that had stopped paying tribute. Green dots marked worlds that had never been contacted by the council. 17 worlds stopped paying tribute last year, Hyejin said, pointing to the yellow dots. 23 the year before that. 41 the year before that. Should I continue? Those worlds faced punishment, the metal tree said. Its branches moved in angry patterns. They learned the cost of defying the council. Did they? Taemin asked. Because according to our information, most of them are still not paying tribute, and your enforcement fleets seem to be having trouble making them comply. The Supreme Arbiter's form flickered like a broken light. Your information is wrong. The council's power is absolute. No world can stand against us. Then why haven't you destroyed the rebellious worlds? Daeho asked. The question hung in the air like smoke. The council members looked at each other in ways that made the humans think of animals trapped in a corner. The council shows mercy to those who might still be saved, the gas cloud finally said. Or maybe, Hyejin said, you do not have as many ships as you want people to think. The metal being made a sound like gears grinding to a halt. Our fleets are vast. Our power is beyond measure. How many ships do you actually have? Taemin asked. Not the number you tell people, the real number. That information is not for lesser species, the crystal being said, but its song was quieter now. Hyejin changed the hologram again. Now it showed ship movements across the galaxy over the last year. We have been watching your fleets, tracking their movements, counting them. You have no right, the reptile being said. We have every right, Daeho said. You threatened our world. We wanted to know what we were facing. The hologram showed lines of movement connecting different star systems, but there were not very many lines, and many of the systems had no lines at all. Your main fleet has not left the core systems in 6 months, Hyejin said. Your enforcement ships are spread so thin that most worlds only see them once every few years, and your new ship construction has dropped by 70% in the last decade. Where did you get this information? The Supreme Arbiter demanded. From people who live in your empire, Taemin said. People who work on your ships. People who build your weapons. People who are tired of serving beings that take everything and give nothing back. The gas cloud swirled angrily. The council provides order. Without us, the galaxy would fall into chaos. What kind of chaos? Daeho asked. Species trading freely with each other? Worlds governing themselves? People keeping the things they make instead of giving them to you? War, the metal tree said. Endless war. Species fighting species until the galaxy burns. Like the war happening right now? Hyejin asked. The council chambers became very quiet. Even the humming of the energy systems seemed to fade. What war? The crystal being asked, but its voice was barely a whisper. The war in the Rim territories, Taemin said. The war you have been trying to hide from the rest of the galaxy. The Supreme Arbiter's form began to collapse in on itself. There is no war in the Rim territories. There are only minor police actions against pirates and rebels. 17. Star systems have declared independence, Daeho said. They call themselves the Free Worlds Alliance. They have been fighting your forces for 3 years. And winning, Hyejin added. The reptile being rose up on its platform, towering over The humans. Lies! The Council's forces are invincible. No collection of primitive worlds can stand against us. Then why have you not defeated them? Taemin asked. The question was simple, but it hit the Council like a hammer blow. Several of the beings moved backward on their platforms. The Council chooses to show restraint, the gas cloud said. We could destroy the rebels at any time. Could you? Hyjin asked. Because our information says you have tried 3 times, and 3 times the Free Worlds Alliance has beaten your fleets. She changed the hologram again. Now it showed a detailed map of the Rim territories. Red markers showed Council forces. Blue markers showed Free Worlds ships. There was a lot more blue than red. Your last attack was 6 months ago, Daeho said. Fleet Admiral Carthon led 47 Council ships against the rebel stronghold at Kepler Station. Want to know what happened? The rebels were defeated, the metal tree said, but its voice lacked confidence. The rebels captured 22 Council ships, Taemin said. Admiral Carthon surrendered. He and his crews joined the Free Worlds Alliance. Impossible, the Supreme Arbiter said. He sent us a message, Hyejin said. Want to hear it? Before the Council could answer, she activated a new hologram. The image of a being that looked like a cross between a lizard and a bird appeared in the chamber. It wore what had once been a Council uniform, but the insignia had been removed. Greetings, humans of Earth, the image said. I am Admiral Carthon, formerly of the Council Enforcement Fleet, now proud member of the Free Worlds Alliance. We have heard of your brave refusal to bow to the Council's demands. Know that you are not alone. The age of tyranny is ending. The age of freedom is beginning. The hologram faded, leaving the Council chambers in shocked silence. How many other admirals have joined the rebels? Daeho asked. How many other worlds are secretly supporting them? Hyejin added. How many of your own people want to be free? Taemin finished. The Supreme Arbiter's energy form was flickering wildly now. This changes nothing. Even if some worlds have rebelled, even if some of our forces have turned traitor, the Council still has the power to destroy your world. Do you? Daeho asked. The simple question seemed to take all the air out of the chamber. The Council members looked at each other with expressions that might have been fear. What do you mean? The crystal being asked. I mean, do you really have the power to destroy Earth? Daeho said. Or are you just hoping we think you do? Your world is far from the core systems, Hyejin said. To attack us you would have. To send ships through rebel territory. Ships you might lose. Ships you might not be able to replace. And if you destroy Earth, Taemin added, you prove to the galaxy that you rule through murder, not protection. How many more worlds do you think would rebel after that? The gas cloud swirled in agitated patterns. You think you are clever. You think you have found weaknesses in the Council's power. But you understand nothing. We understand enough, Daeho said. We understand that your empire is falling apart. We understand that your fleets are shrinking. We understand that more and more species are choosing freedom over slavery. And we understand something else, Hyejin said. We understand that you need us more than we need you. What? The reptile being asked. Think about it, Taemin said. If you destroy us, you prove that the Council rules through fear and violence. If you leave us alone, you show weakness. Either way, you lose. But if we join you, Daeho said, if we become part of your empire, then you can say that even the defiant humans eventually saw the wisdom of Council rule. You can use us as an example to other worlds. The Supreme Arbiter's form stabilized. Slightly. You would submit to the Council? Under the right conditions, Hyejin said. What conditions? The crystal being asked. Daeho smiled. It was not a friendly smile. We want to meet the rebels. The Council chambers erupted in chaos. The Supreme Arbiter's energy form flashed between different colors. The crystal being's song became a harsh screech. The gas cloud spun so fast it looked like a tornado. The metal tree's branches waved wildly, making sounds like a factory breaking down. You cannot meet the rebels, the reptile being said. Its scales were now bright red with anger. They are criminals! They are traitors to galactic order! They are also winning, Daeho said calmly. If we are going to choose a side, should we not meet both sides first? There are no sides, the gas cloud said. There is only the council and chaos. There is only order and destruction. Really? Hyajin asked. She activated her tablet again. Because we have been talking to a lot of people lately, and they tell a very different story. A new hologram appeared in the chamber. This one showed a being that looked like a tree made of light. Its voice was soft and musical when it spoke. Greetings, brave humans. I am Keeper Lil Andra of the Wisdom Grove Alliance. We have heard of your courage in refusing the Council's demands. Know that thousands of worlds stand with you in spirit. The hologram changed to show another being, this one looking like a giant spider made of silver metal. I am Trademaster Kelvon of the Independent Merchants Guild. For too long, the Council has taken our goods and given us nothing. It is time for change. More holograms appeared. Beings of all shapes and sizes from dozens of different worlds. All of them spoke the same message. They were tired of council rule and ready to support anyone brave enough to stand against it. Where did you get these messages? The Supreme Arbiter demanded. They sent them to us, Taemin said. After word spread that humans had said no to the council, we started getting messages from all over the galaxy. Impossible, the crystal being said. Council communication systems are secure. These messages could not have reached you. Council systems are secure, Hyjin agreed. But there are other communication networks in the galaxy, networks you do not control. The metal tree's branches moved in agitated patterns. What networks? All communication in council space is monitored and regulated. The Merchant Network, Daeho said. The Wisdom Keeper Network, the Free Trader Network. Turns out there are a lot of ways to send messages that do not go through council systems. And a lot of people using those networks, Taemin added. The gas clouds swirled faster. Even if these messages are real, they mean nothing. A few rebels and criminals cannot stand against the council's power. A few? Hyjin asked. She changed the hologram to show a star map. Hundreds of systems were marked in blue. These are all the worlds that have sent us messages of support. Look familiar? The council members stared at the map in silence. The blue dots covered nearly a quarter of the galaxy. You are looking at the beginning of a revolution, Daeho said. And it started because one small world said no to your demands. This proves nothing, the reptile being said, but its voice was quieter now. Messages of support are not the same as military action. True, Taemin said, but some of these worlds are offering more than just moral support. The hologram changed, again showing ship construction data. New vessels were being built in dozens of systems, all with the same design, fast, heavily armed, and built for war. The Free Worlds Alliance has been busy, Hyjin said. They have been building ships, training crews, preparing for a war they think is coming. A war that does not have to happen, the Supreme Arbiter said. Its energy form was dimmer now, as if it was running out of power. The Council has no desire for war. We seek only to maintain peace and order. By threatening to destroy anyone who disagrees with you, Daeho said. By providing protection from the chaos that would otherwise consume the galaxy, the crystal being said. Its song was sad now instead of angry. What chaos? Hyjin asked. You keep talking about chaos and destruction, but what exactly are you protecting us from? The council members looked at each other. For a long moment, none of them spoke. There. Are things in the dark between stars? The gas cloud finally said. Things that would devour entire worlds if they were not held back. What things? Taemin asked. The void devourers, the metal tree said. Its voice was quieter than before. Beings of pure destruction that consume everything they touch. The council has fought them for 10,000 years. Where are they now? Daeho asked. Another long silence. They were contained, the Supreme Arbiter said. Long ago, but the containment requires constant vigilance, constant strength. If the galaxy falls into chaos, if species fight among themselves, the containment will fail. And then, Hyjin asked. Then everything dies, the reptile being said. The humans looked at each other. This was the first time the council had mentioned any real external threat. Show us, Deho said. What? The crystal being asked. Show us these void devourers. Show us the containment. Show us proof that this threat is real. The containment. Zones are classified, the gas cloud said. No lesser species may approach them. Lesser species? Taemin asked. Is that how you see everyone who is not on the council? It is how the galaxy is ordered, the metal tree said. The council species have the power and wisdom to protect all others. This is the natural way. Natural? Hyejin asked. Or convenient? The Supreme Arbiter's form flared with anger. You dare question the order that has kept the galaxy safe for 10,000 years? We dare question everything, Deho said, including whether this order is really about protection or just about power. The two are the same, the reptile being said. Power is what allows protection. Without power, there can be no safety. But who protects us from you? Taemin asked. The question hit the council like a physical blow. Several of the beings moved backward on their platforms. The council exists to serve, the gas cloud said. We take no pleasure in ruling. We do what we must to maintain order. Do you? Hyejin asked. Because from where we stand, it looks like you take quite a lot from the galaxy and give very little back. We give peace, the crystal being said. You give fear, Deho corrected. You give submission. You give slavery with a fancy name. And now, Taemin added, you are losing it. The Supreme Arbiter's energy form began to collapse in on itself. Even if some worlds rebel, even if some species seek independence, the Council's mission remains. The galaxy must be protected. From what? Hyejin asked. From these void devourers that may or may not exist? From chaos that might happen if people are free? Or from the possibility that other species might be strong enough to protect themselves? You do not understand, the metal tree said. The burden of ruling is heavy. The responsibility is overwhelming. Do you think we enjoy making difficult decisions? I think you enjoy the power, Deho said, and I think you are terrified of losing it. What would happen to the galaxy without the council? The gas cloud asked. Who would maintain order? Who would prevent war? Maybe no one needs to, Taemin said. Maybe species can learn to live together without being forced to. Impossible, the reptile being said. Without strong leadership, the galaxy will tear itself apart. Like it is tearing itself apart now? Hyejin asked. The silence that followed was the longest yet. The council members stared down at the three humans who had walked into their chambers and challenged everything they believed. What do you want from us? The Supreme Arbiter finally asked. Deho looked up at the beings that had ruled the galaxy through fear for 10,000 years. When he spoke, his voice was calm and clear. We want you to step down. The council chambers erupted in chaos again, but this time, the chaos felt different. This time, it felt like the sound of an old order breaking apart and a new one being born. Step down? The crystal being asked. Leave the galaxy to govern itself? Why not? Taemin asked. It worked for Earth. Earth is one world, the gas cloud said. The galaxy has billions of worlds, thousands of species. The complexity is beyond imagination. Then maybe it is time to try something different, Hyejin said. Maybe it is time to let those species govern themselves. And if they fail? The metal tree asked. If they fall into war and chaos? If billions die? Then they will learn from their mistakes, Deho said, like every free species learns. And if they do not learn fast enough? The reptile being asked. Then they will die free, Taemin said, which is better than living as slaves. The Supreme Arbiter's energy form flickered like a candle about to go out. You would risk everything for an idea. You would gamble with the lives of billions for the chance to be free. Yes, all three humans said at the same time. The word echoed through the chambers like the sound of chains breaking. And in that echo, the council heard something they had not heard in 10,000 years, the sound of their own doom approaching. Deho reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. It looked like nothing special, just a simple communicator. But when he activated it, the entire council chamber filled with light. Dozens of holographic figures appeared around the humans. Beings from across the galaxy, all watching the proceedings with intense interest. The council members stared in shock as their private chamber suddenly became very public. "Council of Tyrants," said a familiar voice. Admiral Carthon's image appeared larger than the others. "Meet the Free Galaxy Alliance." The Supreme Arbiter's energy form flared with rage. "How did you breach our security? This chamber is protected by quantum shields." "Your shields work fine against weapons," said a new voice. This came from a being that looked like a living crystal, but different from the council member. Smaller, brighter, more alive. "They do not work so well against friends. I am Engineer Zixtal," the crystal being continued. "I helped build your quantum shields. I also helped design ways around them." More voices joined the conversation. Beings from dozens of worlds all speaking at once, but somehow their words did not clash. Instead, they built on each other, creating a symphony of defiance. "The Mining Guild stands with the Free Alliance," said a being that looked like living rock. "The Merchant Network supports galactic freedom," added a creature that seemed to be made of flowing water. "The Wisdom Keepers choose knowledge over control," said a figure of pure light. "The independent worlds reject council tyranny," declared a being that looked like a tree with eyes. On and on it went, species after species declaring their support for freedom. The council members watched in growing horror as their empire fell, apart before their eyes. "This is impossible," the Crystal Council member said. Its song was now a discordant wail. "These species are loyal to the council. They understand the benefits of our protection." "Do we?" asked the rock being. "For 300 years, my people have given you 90% of our mineral wealth. In return, you gave us protection from threats that never came. Protection we never needed." "The trade routes were safe because the council made them safe," the gas cloud protested. "The trade routes were safe because we traders protected them ourselves," the water being replied. "Your ships were rarely seen outside the core systems. And when they were seen," added Admiral Carthon, "they usually made things worse, not better." Hyajin stepped forward, looking up at the council members. "How long has it been since any of you actually visited the worlds you claim to protect?" The silence that followed was answer enough. "How long since you walked among the people? Who pay tribute to you?" Taman asked. "How long since you saw the poverty and suffering your rule has created?" Deho added. "The council oversees the galaxy from here," the reptile being said. "Personal visits are not necessary. We receive reports." "From who?" asked the light being. "From council officials who tell you what you want to hear? From governors who are too afraid to report problems? From systems that have learned that bad news brings punishment?" The metal tree's branches moved in agitated patterns. "The council's information sources are comprehensive and accurate." "Are they?" Admiral Carthon asked. "When was the last time you received an accurate report about rebel activity in the Rim territories?" "The rebels are a minor problem," the Supreme Arbiter said, but its energy form was flickering wildly. "A few discontented worlds that will soon see reason." 17. "Star systems," the Admiral said. 43 inhabited worlds, over 2 billion beings, and growing every day. More holographic figures appeared. These were clearly military officers, wearing uniforms that looked similar to council designs, but with different insignia. Admiral Tyrannus reporting, said a being that looked like a giant insect. "Fourth Fleet has joined the Alliance. All crews voted unanimously. Commander Velka reporting," added a creature that resembled a flying jellyfish. "The 7th Battle Group stands with freedom." General Mortex reporting, said a being that looked like an armored bear. "The Orbital Defense Corps has declared independence." One by one, more military leaders appeared. Admirals, generals, commanders. All of them former council officers who had chosen freedom over tyranny. "How many?" the Crystal Council member whispered. "About 40% of your military," Admiral Carthon said. "And more join us every day." "Traitors," the gas cloud said. "All of you are traitors to galactic order." "We are patriots," General Mortex replied. "Patriots to the idea that free beings should not be ruled by tyrants." "And what of the void devourers?" the metal tree asked desperately. "Who will maintain the containment if the council falls?" A new figure appeared in the chamber. This one was larger than the others and seemed to be made of shifting shadows. When it spoke, its voice was ancient and terrible. The Void Devourers have been gone for 8,000 years, it said. Every being in the chamber, council members and rebels alike, stared at the shadow figure. "Who are you?" the Supreme Arbiter demanded. "I am Keeper Nixtara of the Deep Archives," the shadow being said. "I am older than the council. I remember when the Void Devourers were real." "They are still real," the reptile being protested. "The containment zones prove it." "The containment zones contain nothing," Nixtara said. "They have been empty for millennia. The council has been guarding empty space and calling it salvation." The revelation hit the chamber like a bomb. Even the rebel leaders looked shocked. "Impossible," the gas cloud said. "The council's entire purpose is to protect the galaxy from the Void Devourers." "The council's purpose became self-perpetuation," Nixtara replied. "You convinced yourselves that the threat was eternal because you needed it to be eternal. Without an external enemy, how could you justify your rule?" "But the monitoring stations," the crystal being said, "the energy readings, the containment fields, all designed to detect something that is no longer there," the ancient being said. "The Void Devourers were destroyed by the species that came before you, the very species the council wiped out to claim power." The Supreme Arbiter's energy form began to collapse. "No, this cannot be true. Everything we have done, everything we have built, it was all to protect the galaxy. You have spent 10,000 years protecting the galaxy from a threat that did not exist," Nixtara said. "And in doing so, you became the very thing you claimed to fight against." "Devourers," Deho said quietly. "You became the Devourers." The truth of it hung in the air like a living thing. The council members stared at each other, seeing themselves clearly for the first time in millennia. "What do we do now?" the metal tree asked. Its voice was small and lost. "You step down," Admiral Carthon said. "You return power to the people. You took it from. You let the galaxy govern itself. And if we refuse?" the reptile being asked. "Then the war continues," General Mortex said. "But it will be a short war. Most of your military has already joined us. Most of your worlds want freedom. You can fight, but you cannot win. Or," Heejin said, "you can choose to be remembered as the council that gave freedom back to the galaxy." The IS Supreme Arbiter looked down at the three humans who had walked into its chamber and brought down an empire with nothing but courage and truth. "What would this new government look like?" it asked. "Like a democracy," Taemin said. "Every species gets a voice. Every world gets a vote. Decisions are made by discussion and agreement, not by force. And if species disagree? If they fight among themselves? Then they work it out," Deho said. "Like adults. Like free beings." "It will be messy," Engineer Zixtal said. "Democracy always is, but it will be honest, and it will be free." The council members looked at each other. They had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years through fear and force. Now they faced a choice: fight a war they could not win, or surrender power they had held too long. "The council agrees to negotiate," the Supreme Arbiter finally said. The chamber erupted in cheers from the rebel leaders, but the humans remained calm. They had known this moment would come. "There is one condition," the crystal being said. "The transition must be gradual. The galaxy cannot simply be abandoned to chaos." "Agreed," Admiral Carthon said. "We propose a 5-year transition period. During that time, a new constitution will be written. New elections will be held. New institutions will be built. And during that time," General Mortex added, "former council members who wish to participate in the new government will be welcome. Your experience will be valuable. If you can learn to serve instead of rule," the light being said. The negotiations went on for hours. Details were worked out, compromises were reached, and plans were made. But the outcome was never in doubt. The age of the council was ending. The age of freedom was beginning. As the session finally ended, the holographic figures began to fade away. Soon, only the humans and the council members remained in the great chamber. "You have destroyed everything we built," the gas cloud said. But there was no anger in its voice anymore, only sadness. "We have freed everything you imprisoned," Deho replied. "There is a difference." "What will happen to us?" the reptile being asked. "That depends on you," Hyejin said. "You can spend your remaining years fighting the change, or you can help build something better." "After 10,000 years of ruling, how do we learn to serve?" the metal tree asked. "The same way everyone learns," Taman said, "one day at a time."